Hello friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name is Amy. I am an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the book, we are in the the version of the Bible is the Niv, and we are in the book of 1 Kings. We are in chapter 3. So we are continuing on with the story of King Solomon there. So King Solomon asks for wisdom, right? King Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and married his daughter. He brought her to the city of David. So he married a non-Jew, like a non-Israeli, like not a child of Jacob. And it's a problem according to the laws, just right there. He brought her to the city of David until he finished building his palace and the temple of the Lord and the wall around Jerusalem, so securing everything. The people, however, were still sacrificing at the high places, so it means not sacrificing to the Lord, sacrificing to other deities, so breaking the Torah there too. Okay. Because a temple had not yet been built in the name of the Lord. So, okay, there were some of those in there. Solomon showed his love for the Lord by walking according to the statutes of his father David, except that he offered sacrifices and burned incense on the high places. Uh-oh. The king went to Gibeon to offer sacrifices, for that was the most important high place, and Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in the dream, and God said, "Ask for whatever you want to give me." So this is a good set of sacrifices. Solomon answered, "You have shown great kindness to your servant, my father David, because he was faithful to you and righteous and upright in heart. You have continued this kindness to him and given him a son to sit on the throne to this very day. Now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king in the place of my father David, but I am only a little child and do not know how to carry out my duties. Your servant is here among the people you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to count or number. So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. For who is able to govern this great people of yours?" Wow. That's like, woo, way to score brownie points, Solomon. The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this. So God said to him, "Since you have asked for this, and not for a long life or wealth for yourself, nor have you asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice, I will do what you have asked. I will give you a wise and discerning heart, so there will never have been anyone like you, nor will there ever be." Now you should know Solomon is a large chunk of what we read as the Proverbs comes from Solomon, as opposed to the Psalms that came from his father David. Okay? So truly, unlike others around, he kept his promise to Solomon, because God always keeps his promises. "Moreover, I will give you what you have not asked for, both riches and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings. And if you walk in my ways and obey my statutes and commands, as David your father did, I will give you a long life." Then Solomon awoke, and he realized it had been a dream. He returned to Jerusalem, stood before the ark of the Lord's covenant, and sacrificed burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. There's a footnote of A, traditionally called the peace offering. And then he gave a feast for all his court. So he walked away and went to sacrificing where he should be. A wise ruling. Now 2 prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. One of them said, "My lord, this woman and I live in the same house. Well, I had a baby while she was there with me. On the 3rd day after my child was born, this woman also had a baby. we were alone. There was no one in the house but the two of us. During the night, this woman's son died because she lay on him. So she got up in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while I, your servant, was asleep. She put him by my breast and put her dead son, no, she put him by her breast and put her dead son by my breast. The next morning, I got up to nurse my son, and he was dead. When I looked at him closely in the morning light, I saw that this wasn't the son I had born. The other woman said, "No, the living one is my son. The dead one is yours." But the first one insisted, "No, the dead one is yours. The living one is mine." And so they argued before the king. The king said, "This one says my son is alive and your son is dead, while that one says, no, your son is dead and mine is alive." When the king said, "Bring me a sword," so they brought a sword for the king. He then gave the order, "Cut the living child in two and give one half to one and the half to another." The woman whose son was alive was filled with compassion for her son and said to the king, "Please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him." But the other said, "Neither I nor you shall have him. Cut him in two." Then the king gave his ruling, "Give the living baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is his mother." Then, with all Israel heard the verdict the king had given, they held the king in awe because they saw that he had the wisdom from God to administer justice. He could ferret out the liar. Right? Sometimes that's what the discernment is. The ability to tell when someone's not quite telling you the whole truth. Until the next video, friends. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name is Amy. I am an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv. We are in the book of 1 Kings, following the story of Solomon, Israel's third king. Well, you could really say it's fourth if you wanted to, because after there was a whole section in there in which one of Saul's sons, Ishbosheth, something like that, was ruler before they accepted David as king in Israel. Solomon's officials and governors is what chapter 4 is about. So King Solomon ruled over all Israel, and these were his chief officials: Azariah, Azariah, son of Zadok, Zadok, the priest; Elihoreph, Elihorph, and Ahijah, sons of Ijah, sons of Shisha, Shisha, secretaries; Jehoshaphat, Jehosha, Phat, sons of Hulad, Hilud, recorder; Benaniah, Benaiah, sons of Jehoiada, Joaida, commander-in-chief; Zadok and Abiathar, priests; Azariah, Azariah, son of Nathan, in charge of the district officers; Zabud, S-A-B, put extra consonants in there, as Z-A-B-U-D, Zabud, son of Nathan, a priest and personal advisor to the king; Ahishar, Haishar, in charge of the palace; and Adoniram, Adoniram, son of Abida, Abda, in charge of forced labor. So that would be their slaves. Okay, Solomon had slaves. Solomon had also had 12 district governors over all Israel, who supplied provisions for the king and the royal household. Each one had to provide supplies for 1 month in the year. These are their names: Ben-Hur, I'm not kidding, B-N-H-U-R. Okay. In Ben means son. in Hebrew, Ben-Hur, in the hill country of Ephraim. Ben-Deker, D-E-K-E-R, in Makaz, that's M-A-K-A-Z, Shalabim, S-H-A-A-L-B-I-M, and Beth Shemesh, B-E-T-H, separate word, S-H-E-M-E-S-H, and Elon, E-L-O-N, Beth Hanan, one word, B-E-T-H-A-N-A-N-A. No, B-A-T-H-A-N-A-N. There we go. Ben Hesed, all thanks again, son of. So Ben dash H-E-S-E-D. The in Aruboth, R-U-B-B-O-T-H, and it's got in bracket. Sokoh, S-O-C-O-H, and all the land of Hefer, H-P-H-E-R, were his. Ben Aminadab, it's A-B-I-N-A-D-A-B, in Nephoth, N-A-P-H-O-T-H, Dor, D-O-R, there's a footnote of B there, in the heights of Dor. He was married to Tapeth, T-A-P-H-A-T-H, daughter of Solomon. So he's the son-in-law to the king. It's a pretty big deal. And Ba'anan, B-A-A-N-A, like banana, right? Banana, son of Ahilud, A-H-I-L-U-D, in Tanakh, T-A-A-N-A-C-H, and Megiddo, M-E-G-I-D-D-O, and all of Beth Shan, B-E-T-H, and then special S-H-A-N, next to Zarethan, Z-A-R-E-T-H-A-N, below Jezreel, J-E-Z-R-E-E-L, from Beth Shannon to Abel, A-B-E-L, Maholah, M-E-H-O-L-A-H, across to Jokiam, J-O-K-M-E-A-M. Ben Gerber, G-E-B-E-R, in Ramoth, Gilead, the settlement of Jair, J-A-I-R, son of Manasseh in Gilead, were his, as well as the district of Argob, A-R-G-O-B, in Bashan, B-A-S-H-A-N, and its 60 large walled cities with the bronze gate bars. Aminadab, son of Iddo, I-D-D-O, in Mahanaim, M-A-H-A-N-A-A-I-M, Ahimaaz, A-H-I-M-A-A-Z, in Naphtali. He had married Basemath, B-A-S-E-M-A-T-H, daughter of Solomon, so again a son-in-law to the kin. Banaana, son of Hushai, S-H-U-S-H-A-I, in Asher, and in Altoth, A-L-O-T-H. Jehoshaphat, son of Paruah, P-A-R-U-A-H, in Issachar. Shimeah, son of Elah, in Benjamin. Gerber, son of Uriah, in Gilead, the country of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the country of Og of Bashan. He was the only governor over the district. Solomon's daily provisions, and this is what they were to provide the king. Remember, this is all like saying basically in their laws, their constitutional tax was this, okay? The people of Judah and Israel were as numerous as the sand on the seashore. They ate, they drank, and they were happy. And Solomon ruled over the kingdoms as far as the river. That would be the footnote of C. It's going to be the Euphrates. To the land of the Philistines, as far as the border of Egypt. These countries brought tribute and were Solomon's subject all of his life. Solomon's daily provisions were 30 cores, C-O-R-S, that's got a footnote of D, that is probably about 185 bushels or 6.6 kilograms of fine flour, and 60 cores, That is probably 375 bushels or 13.2 kilograms of meal, 10 head of stall-fed cattle, 20 of pasture-fed cattle, and 100 sheep and goats, as well as deer, gazelle, roebucks, and choice fowl. He ruled over the kingdoms west of the river to Tipsah, Tipshah, to Gaza, and had peace on all sides. During Solomon's lifetime, Judah and Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, lived in safety, each man under his own vine and fig tree. So, okay, everybody was prosperous under Solomon, but he also had a very large appetite for a bunch of stuff, didn't he? Solomon had 4,000, so it's got an F of footnote of F, in the Septuagint, and see also 2 Chronicles 9:25. In Hebrew, it's 40, so 40,000 stalls, chariot horses, and 12,000 horses. That is 8 charioteers. Okay. The district officers, each in his month, supplied provisions for King Solomon and all who came to the king's table. They saw it that the king lacked for nothing, but they also brought to the proper place their quotas of barley and straw for the chariot horses and other horses, so more than just food supplies. Solomon's wisdom. God gave Solomon wisdom and a very great insight and breadth of understanding, as measureless as the sand on the seashore, because that's what he asked for. Solomon's wisdom was greater than the wisdom of all the men of the East and greater than the wisdom of Egypt. He was wiser than any other man, including Ethan the Ezrahite, wiser than Heman. Ezrahite is Ezrahite, wiser than Heman, Heman. Not kidding. Okay, just Calcol, Calcol, and Darda, Darda, sons of Mahol, Mahol. And his fame spread to all the surrounding nations. He spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs numbered at 1,005. He described plant life, from the cedar of Lebanon to the hyssop that grows out of the walls. He also taught about animals and birds, reptiles and fish. Men of all nations came to listen to Solomon's wisdom, sent by all the kings of the world who had heard of his wisdom. So because he asked for wisdom and not man things, God blessed him with lots and lots of everything. That should be a lesson. Till the next video, friends. Hello, friends. Happy Saturday. Bible study, the Nev, John, chapter 20. In this video, we're going to do 1 through 18. And it's going to contain 2 different parables, the empty tomb and Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene. So, early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. So she came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved. That's just John. Because remember, John and Peter would go back and forth over which one of them loved Jesus the most, right? And this is the Gospel of John. They have taken the Lord out of the tomb. We don't know where they have put him. So imagine how horrifying that must be. Because remember, this is all happening, and it's all happening quickly. And when they put Jesus in that tomb, it's not like they thought that that was going to be his final resting place. They needed to get him down before anything bad could happen to his body, set aside, and in a proper burial before Passover came. So it's not like they had acquired that tomb or any of the rest of that. They don't even know who it belongs to. Like, it's there. So they're using it at the moment, figuring they can always move his body later. And then go, take a mikveh bath since they've, been around a dead body. So Peter and the other disciples started for the tomb. Of course. Why wouldn't they be? I would be too. Both were running, but the other disciple outran Peter. Well, I think it's John. And reached the tomb first. Of course. I loved him more. I moved faster. Dad likes me better. He bent over and looked at the strips of linen lying there, but didn't go in. Which means that, he would have gotten up, covered. You have to imagine, you're Jesus, right? You're in a tomb. You've been covered in oils, and you've been wrapped in linen like a mummy. That's what they did. Like, now, it's a shroud, it's a burial shroud, so maybe they didn't wrap them in strips, but they talk about that in strips. So you have to imagine what this would look like, because it's a bunch of wrappings. So you wake up, and you got to get all this off of you. So it means he was pulling things off of him as he went, which I think is what any of us did, because the first thing we would have done is take that thing off our face and then figure out how to get the rest of this off of us, because we don't need this. We don't want this on us as hindering our movement. Then Simon Peter, who was behind him, arrived and went into the tomb. He saw the strips of linen lying there, as well as the burial cloth that had been around Jesus' head. The cloth was folded up by itself, so he took it off and he folded it up neatly, separated from the linen. That would be the Shroud of Turin. Finally, the other disciple who had reached the tomb first also went inside. He saw and believed. They still did not understand from the scripture that Jesus had to rise from the dead. So they believed, but they were also like, what did people do with our bodies? What did they do? Where is our Messiah? Why couldn't they leave him resting in peace? Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene. This is the next one. We're in verse 10. Then the disciples went back to their homes, but Mary stood outside the tomb crying. Oh, I can see why. As she wept, she bent over and looked into the tombs. The tomb, sorry, it's only singular. And saw two angels in white, seated where Jesus' body had been. The one at the head, the other at the foot. They asked her, "Woman, why are you crying?" "They have taken my Lord away," she said, "and I don't know where they have put him." At this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she didn't realize it was Jesus, which can be very confusing. Like, why doesn't she realize it's Jesus? Because they will take whatever form in energy that we are going to be most comfortable with. It's not necessarily going to be the form that they actually are. Right? And besides, this here is part of a test. How much did Mary love Jesus? Obviously, very much. That she is distraught. That she doesn't know where his body has gone. To him, it's a vessel. To her, the body is the person. At this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she didn't know it was Jesus, right? That's verse 14. "Woman," he said, "why are you crying? Who is it that you are looking for?" Thinking he was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him, and I will get him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned toward him and cried out in Aramaic, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said, "Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet returned to my Father. Go instead to my brothers and tell them, I am returning to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went to his disciples with the news, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them he had said these things to her. So, holding on, that's a key thing there. So if one wants to rise up and ascend to heaven, you can't have people who are at a lower level holding on, because it anchors you down here. You can't rise to heaven if you're anchored and stuck. here on earth. If we obsessively think about someone, we actually are doing a form of dark magic and we harm them. Okay? So you can't be obsessively thinking about somebody. You can't, and obsessively means non-stop thinking. Remember that he and the universe, the energies that be in this world, they can feel all your feelings and hear all your thoughts. And any energy you put out in the world comes back. So if we desire to hold on to people so tightly that we never want them to go anywhere, we can actually shove them away because it feels oppressive. They're trying to rise and it feels like you're clutching on for dear life. And that makes them leave. Because that feels controlling and weird and narcissistic, and it makes them feel oppressed. And that's because you can't rise and fall. You can't be doing this and ascend. You either want to rise, so you keep doing the things that keep you in alignment. You stop doing the things that take you out of alignment, and then you do even more things to put yourself in alignment. By the time you're at a place, your life should be one big moving prayer. If you're going through your day and you're not talking to your ceiling every day going, God, what are you doing over here? What is this? What are you trying to get me to work with? Can't you just, if you're not having those conversations, then you're not praying enough and you're not, or you're not on the same ascension path I am, and I'm sorry, I won't be able to help you. You'll have to find somebody who's on the ascension path you're on. This is the way I know how to do it, so it's the only way I can tell you. So take what you can glean from it, because I'm not saying my way is the only way. He doesn't work that way. He will use whatever energy he can. Just remember, we're supposed to be staying in alignment, not sliding out of alignment. If you're around somebody and you find that difficulties constantly appear in your life when when you're communicating with them in the 3D or any of that, then you need to evaluate that relationship, because there's a lesson there for you to alchemize so that you can move on to good things. Because we are supposed to be taking these lessons and making changes to how we interact with the world, to be alchemizing the wounds, ascending, or staying in divine light. Take your pick of language. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We're in the Niv, and we are in the book of Psalms, book 5 of Psalms. 5, you can see on my fingers. And then we're in Psalm 121, a song of ascent, like ascent. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of the heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. Well, amen to that. Until the next video, friends.